What's going on, guys? This is Yacine, and yes, finally after a month you can finally see what my face looks like on an actual video. It's been a while, but I am back finally, and hopefully stronger than ever. I will be making a lot more videos now. I know I always say this, but I've been going to so many YCSs lately, and fortunately I've been doing well, so at least the hard work is really paying off. And in case you were wondering what I played, I will also be covering this in this video, as well as my deck list and my tournament experience and everything. But we're going to be going over both YCSs that happened during the last weekend, so YCS Lille as well as YCS Lima in Peru. They both happened at the exact same time, so that's really interesting. It's kind of like when they do like a celebration event of like 250th, 275th, and then 300th YCS. There's like 2 to 3 YCSs going on at the same time. And yeah, this has like nothing to do with that. It's not even a celebration, but we are getting the celebration on February 14th, which is coinciding with Valentine's Day. But yeah, anyways, before we go any further into this kind of TCG metagame breakdown, I do have something very important to say. Obviously, smash the like and subscribe button, but there's something more important that I wanted to cover before we jumped right into it. So, a buddy of mine by the name of Daniel is unfortunately fighting against cancer right now, and he's undergoing chemotherapy, which is really difficult. It's also really expensive. It puts a huge financial strain on yourself, but also on your family, and it's not, a process that is easy in any way, shape, or form. It has a huge negative impact on, school work. Because of that, a GoFundMe has been created in his honor. I have donated myself personally. If you are interested, I would really appreciate you if you could go take a look at it. It'll be at the very top of the description box below. Honestly, like I said, I'm really grateful that I've never been in this position, but again, if you are interested in the GoFundMe campaign, the link will be in the description box below. With that being said, let's get into the top cut deck list of YCS Lille. So obviously it was a top 64 event. There were a lot of players in this one, 2,350 players from what I have been told. And it's pretty diverse, obviously, because it's top 64, but it's even more diverse than the top cut of Lima, I believe. Even though we don't have every deck list here, obviously there's like 3, 4, 5 probably extra decks. Honestly, Lima was way less diverse on day 2. There were like so many Yumi and Mitsurugi decks. But in YCS Lille, as you can see, like a lot of random decks managed to do pretty well. So Orchist, not that many Lunites for now. And then obviously Crystron, the best deck. Fire King. Shoutouts to Dinkabui. Absolutely insane. And then Raziel, Gem Knight, Memento. One Raziel at the very least, or at least like 2 or 3 Raziels, managed to get top 32 at YCS Lima. And I played one of them, and I actually lost to Raziel Mitsurugi. It's still a deck. It is still a deck indeed. But yeah, the event was won by Diego Ziglia from Italy. And this is his deck list. He's playing Apophis Primite with 20 hand traps, main deck Shifter, Gamma, Delta, every like Dominus card, but no Songs of the Dominators, which is very interesting because he's also playing Imperm. And also, he doesn't play a lot of hand traps that are like called by the Graveable, if that makes any sense. So, like a lot of the hand traps that he's playing, they don't, like, they're not monsters that send themselves from the hand to the graveyard as cost, except for Ash, Bell, and obviously Dimension Shifter. So that, I guess that's interesting, even though it's just a one of. It's like an Apophis deck that only plays 1 man with a mark, and then it plays like 4 field spells with, 1 Apophis the Serpent and 2 Apophis the Swamp Deity. Again, very interesting. And apart from that, I mean, it's a deck that just on paper you look at it and you're like, how does this work? It's not really like a hardcore combo deck. Honestly, it's pretty much like a stun deck with infinite hand traps, and it just works out because your opponent's like non-engine cards, they're pretty bad against you. Like a lot of like hand traps are just unusable against like these kinds of cards. Activate Lordly Load effect. Even if your opponent ashes it, you can still go effect special summon the Angel Trumpeter. Whatever, you normal summon something, you make Baguska, and against a lot of decks, this is pretty decent, especially when it's paired up with hand traps. And there's even more hand traps in the side deck, because we're maining 20, but clearly that's not enough. So we're siding 2 Skullmeister, which you can even normal summon to make a rank 4, so Baguska, Redoer, so that you can make a big Zeus, and then Retang C, another level 4, so that you can overlay with it Contact C, so we're very prepared for Yumi and Dragon Tail, as well as 3 copies of Ghost Reaper with the Lunalight Leo Dancer. So even against Lunite, we're still pretty well prepared. So there's a lot of like really dangerous cards against Lunalight here. That's kind of scary. I mean, Retang C, Ghost Reaper, Skullmeister. I would not be feeling really comfortable against a deck like this if I were playing Lunite myself, and I did. So, spoiler alert. And in the side deck, we have Verdict of Anubis, which is like pretty much a Solemn Judgment, Solemn Judgment that you can search in this deck. But obviously, the issue that I have with this deck is just that there's a lack of consistency because we have 1 man with a mark with 4 field spells, and apart from that, there's not a super high likelihood of having like a live Apophis and stuff like that. So it kind of is a problem. I mean, and also like the conflicting with the Dominus traps, I did found that to be a little strange. So if you impulse, for example, your barrel and your man with a mark, they pretty much do nothing at all. So you're kind of playing with just spell cards. This is pretty much like a hand trap like Eldritch deck. Super interesting, but honestly, it is really nice to look at a deck like this and like think, okay, if this can win a YCS, think of like how many other spicy decks can actually win YCSs. So huge, massive shoutouts to Diego for winning with such a creative and unique strategy like this. And I really hope that people can take inspiration from this and just think, okay, like if someone can win with a deck that is not Yummy, not Mitsurugi, not Lunalight, not Dragontail, I can, you know, look at like a random deck, you know, play 20 hand traps, make it like unique in some way at least, and make it work. So, I mean, trap decks can work now. Definitely wouldn't be shocked to see like a super interesting deck very similar to this pop up like really soon. But yeah, huge massive shoutouts to Diego for winning with his deck. And also, huge gigantic shout out to my boy Philippe Weidinger for getting second place at YCS Lille with pure Mitsurugi. And he's fantastic with the deck. He definitely deserved, honestly, to go really far. And honestly, I would have been really happy if he won the whole thing. But yeah, his deck list, I watched his deck profile, so I'm not going to go into details too much here. It would have been cool, obviously, to see like 3-pot extravagance. A lot of people are on 2, but it is what it is. And he played 41 cards in his deck. I believe Nibiru was like the 41st card that he mentioned, something like that. But yeah, overall, I mean, it's a really clean deck list. Super Poly was very good for him, so that's nice. And also, this deck has a searchable Kaiju, so the Lunalight matchup is not bad in any way, shape, or form. And I do like the inclusion of Retelling Sea, so, you know, you hit your opponent with Retelling Sea, you can normal summon like a Chummy, or Saji, Aramasa, Kusanagi, Night Sword Serpent, and then you can make some rank 4s, you can make Dugarrish draw 2, so that you unbrick a really bad hand. Overall, I mean, no complaints there, everything is like really smooth. And the Fossil Dyna, so that when you don't normal summon, you just go Galen Granite Surge this, and then you normal summon that. And then you pretty much just win the game, because you're not always using Neuronormal Summon. Sometimes you go send Night Sword Serpent, and then you can go Mitsurugi Prayers, Tribute, and then revive back a monster, make the Galen Granite, etc. Play from there. Dimensional Fissure, it really helps you beat Droll and Logbird, and it's a floodgate that just wipes the floor with so many decks out there, and it's a huge inconvenience with so many decks. Like, even if Yummy can make an SP, it's still gonna hurt like crazy. Obviously, they can make a Croaky, but they might, they might side out the Croaky going second, so that they play less bricks, we never know. So yeah, pretty cool deck list. And then we had Yummy Mitsurugi. A lot of people played Yummy Mitsurugi actually at YCS Lille. That was really interesting. But this deck, I mean, it plays way less hand traps. There was also like a much bigger engine overall. A lot of people really disagree on the ratios. Like, this one is super, super heavy on Mitsurugi cards. Way too heavy, I think. 3 pre-prep with the Mirror and the Futsu, which usually people were not really playing a card like this in like the Mitsurugi like engines, like, I mean, in the decks that were using Mitsurugi just as an engine. Futsu historically has only really been played in pure Mitsurugi, but now people are starting to really go way harder on them, because Murakumo is just an unfair card this format. So it really does make sense. And the fact that this randomly dodged the ballast is absolutely crazy. But yeah, we're playing 9 hand traps with 3 droplet as well as 2 metal Chonus. So, you know, it's still pretty good. Going second, you can still play very well, and there's no Obedience Schooled. So when there's a little bit of conflicting, people go, you know what, screw that. I don't need that, like, that one card that obviously does a lot, but it kind of locks me out. This is Jordan Gallagher's Dragontail Despia list. A lot of people played something almost identical to that. Apparently, the new Frixol, this card is being played in pretty much every single deck list that I've seen so far, and it is actually quite good with Cross Sheep. It really helps out the deck a lot, because now you revive back a monster and then you bounce back the Frixol to hand, so that you can fuse with like a Dragontail from hand and like a monster on field. So Cross Sheep is pretty nice. You can also play like Celine with Access Code if you want to. Pancratop is back to being in people's side decks. People were experimenting with Kashtura Fenrir before, and now I guess people are, you know, kind of not too sure. Jizu Kiru in the side deck, I think this is better than the Radiant Kaiju. So you can send a light or a dark for Lubellion or Albion the Branded Dragon. But if you send Jizu Kiru, it's really harder for your opponent to like Protos Skull Light, so that when you recycle it back with Altherion, it's, you know, it's much better. So I think Jizu Kiru is better into Protos, whereas Radiant, it's easier for your opponent in Lunite to call Dark with Protos, which would obviously shut down the Radiant. And YCS Lima, I did get hit by Radiant, so if I predicted that, I would have been able to, you know, save myself one of my losses, but it is what it is. Apart from that, I mean, Malice actually topping, that's pretty interesting. I mean, I have played against Malice in like one of my rounds at the locals. It's an interesting deck. I mean, obviously it can still go full combo if it draws well, but if it doesn't draw well, then the deck is not good. And also the deck lost a lot of consistency with Splash Mage getting banned, so that some of your hands, they're not really full combo anymore. We have so many deck lists in here, which is interesting because for YCS Lima, we don't have much. I have actually seen this deck list. It is quite different from mine. There's 2 Heavy Poly with 1 Lunite Fusion in the main deck, and then we're siding the 2 extra Lunite Fusion and the 3rd Heavy Poly. And we're also main decking 3 Fua with the Black Gold Laughs. I did not do any of that. Actually, I played 3 Heavy Poly and 3 Lunite Fusion, so my list was like super board breaker. And yeah, there is a 3 Black Sheep in my list, but apart from that, pretty much the exact same monster lineup. Actually, well, I played 2 Fractal. Overall, pretty similar list, though, still. Pure Mitsurugi, that's crazy. A lot of French players, by the way, which is insane. I don't know if there's like a pie chart for like the countries, but people doing well in their own country, that's nice. Sadem Khalil doing really well with Dragon Tail branded. That's absolutely fantastic to see. Huge shoutouts to you, my man. Oh my god, a lot of hand shops here, with Droll in the main deck, the Dark and Evaporation Dragon, and Light and Sublimation, so that you can make the, not even the Light and Darkness Dragon, but like Chaos Star Source, or you can fuse for like your Dragon Tail monsters. They're kind of like extra starters, so that's pretty nice. Obviously, Dark and Evaporation is better. You don't necessarily need to play like multiple copies of it because it's once per turn, so if you want like more diversity, you should do like 1-1 or 2-2, whatever, I guess, and you can also play Blazing Cartesia. And then siding the Fenrir and the Pancratops and 2 Kaiju. Oh my god, this is nuts. And 3D Barrier. Yo, I would not like to be on the receiving end of a deck like this. Oh, that's absolutely scary. If you're playing Lunite, you can get Kaiju'd and you can get a hit by D-Bear. That's really nuts. And also Sting over Horn in the main deck. That is nuts. Sting has been seeing so much play. And some people are main decking 3 copies of Sting, as we've seen with Jordan's deck list. By the way, this is the spiciest deck list in the whole Top Cut. Yo, huge shoutouts to Siebe van Bijl. I'm butchering your name. It's like a Dutch name, and he's from Belgium. But yeah, Crystron, yummy, bro. Absolutely wild. And obviously, I understand the combo, so it's not like a concept that makes 0 sense. You go Sprite Sprint, send Tristalos, and then banish it, destroy one of your yummy synchros, and then summon like Solfnir, Solfador, sorry, and then like anything else from the deck, like the second Tristalos. So even the ratio makes a lot of sense. And then for Rosenix, I don't know if it's a 1-card combo, but the Graveyard effect is pretty cool. You can summon a level 1 token, and then you can synchro with it for like your yummy combo. So it's actually kind of nice. You can go normal summon Scrap Recycler. I mean, there's no Scrap Recycler here, but you get the point. You could theoretically do that, and then send Rosenix, and then link off into Clockwork Knight, banish the Rosenix, and then yummy combo. It's absolutely adorable. But yeah, overall, this is a really cute deck list. It looks really fun. And it's a 42-card deck that can still play a really respectable amount of non-engine. So 3 Fua, 3 Astri, Nib, 3 Imperm, 3 Droplet, and then Called by and Talid. So that's, what, 17? Yo, 17 and 42, it's not bad. It is not bad at all. And also, people are going to be so confused as to, like, what you're trying to do. People are going to be looking at, you know, Special Summon Marshmallow, and then do some yummy plays, and then go Solfnir effect, discard Smyger, like, what the frick are you doing? And then your end board is actually correct. It's Infinity Dragster, the Trap, every single yummy disruption. This is scary. This is really scary. So I like this, even though I think that might kind of be like overcooking to some degree. Maybe if this can get like fine-tuned, it can work a little better, but yeah, I still think this is really adorable. So look, if the whole K9 engine gets banned, you know what to play next. This could actually work. But yeah, huge shoutouts to CB for the deck list. And then Julia's doing well with Dragon Tail something. Okay, okay, yeah, that's very, I mean, similar list as like what other people are doing. So obviously a Frick Soul in the main deck, and then Sting over Horn, 3D Bearer. Okay, so I guess European players kind of like all agree on the fact that Sting should be in everyone's main. This is another Dragon Tail list. Obviously, I'm assuming that it's probably the exact same thing. 1 D-Bear in the main. Oh my god, this is Board Breaker Dragon Tail with a bunch of spell cards and 2 Fallen of Albaz. Interesting. Okay. Wow. That is not something that I'm used to seeing at all. So, wow. And 3 Gravekeeper's Inscription, 3 evenly matched. And Karma Cannon. Yo, not bad. Not bad. This is probably demolishing Lunite. You can thrust into Karma Cannon. Speaking of Lunite, this is Johannes Bauer. I think this rings a bell. Is this the guy that got that played like the second like guy that played Lunite at Worlds? World Championship appearance, yeah, won. I think so. So it was like Tom and then Johannes. Okay, that's interesting. And wow, okay, this deck list is like super different from mine. Thrust with Dark Ruler main deck. 3 Heavy Poly this time, with 1 Lunite Fusion, and then Blackwood Laughs still. I mean, Blackwood Laughs is really cool, you can play that, obviously. Ptolemy 7, let's freaking go, the GOAT, he's playing Ptolemy. Yo, shoutouts to my Lunite spreadsheet, which you can find on my website, yacineygo.com. I feature a bunch of combos with Ptolemy 7 in case you don't really know how it works. This card really adds a lot to your end board. It's absolutely explosive. But yeah, he's also playing Salamander Almirage, which I was on, but I'm not a really big fan of it. And he's main decking 2 Masquerade, setting a 3rd. So his list looks way better for going 2nd than for going 1st. You know, and interestingly enough. But yeah, I mean, obviously this still works really well. I do like this deck list. It is pretty sweet. And then the 1 D-Bearer for thrust target. Ash and Droll in the side. No Impulse at all. Apparently you don't need it. I don't know, Impulse was decent for me, and then Dust for Lightning Storm, etc. Blah, blah, blah. Alright, cool. That's pretty nice. And I think that's pretty much it for like the deck list that we actually do have that are interesting. Now I'm just gonna go real quick to YCS Lima. There's not a lot of deck lists, so I think we only have, yeah, the first place deck list, and then I mean, yeah, I guess this, but like Pure Yummy is not really interesting. And then apart from that, we don't really have any other deck lists. This is me, of course, and I will be showing my deck list right after these two. So yeah, this was Triff's list. So yeah, it's really interesting how there's you know, so obviously 60 cards in here, not a lot of non-engine, but if you don't play against like an FTK deck like Crystron or Lunalite, then I mean you can definitely beat every other deck with just engine cards. So this can easily work. Honestly, like a board breaker approach is pretty nice. And also when you're playing like super high engine count, then your deck is super resilient. It's like naturally extremely explosive, and it doesn't really play any bricks. But yeah, pretty cool deck list overall. And now let's get into the final deck list that we're going to be reviewing from YCS Lima. Actually, the second to last, because I'm also going to be reviewing my own deck list. That makes sense. But yeah, this is a Lunite deck list that got top 8. So huge shoutouts to Josue, Samuel, Baraka, Duque. I probably butchered that name, but yeah, I mean, it's a pretty cool list. It looks like it's better going 2nd than 1st because we're main decking Fua with, you know, still the 3 Book of Eclipse, the 3 Heavy Poly, 1 Lunite Fusion. Obviously it's searchable, so that makes sense, with 2 Thrust, 1 Talent. And you're still going heavy on like the Lunite cards, but no Foolish Bill Goods in the main. Rather, we're setting it with the Serenade Dance, which makes a lot of sense because honestly this card kind of sucks going 2nd, especially when you're not playing Blackwood Laughs. But I find it interesting how there's the Blackwood Laughs in the main but no Foolish Goods in the main, so you might as well just also side this because, you know, as a thrust target going 2nd, it's not great. So in other words, this guarantees that this is a going 1st build, but since there's no Foolish Goods in the main deck, then this might break a little more. So I think that's like an issue. And also Redoer looks a little mediocre overall in this deck. I'd play like Outer Entity, Nyarla, and Dempsey over it any day of the week. And finally, let's get into my own deck list, which I will be showing right now, actually. There you go. This is exactly what I played at the YCS. So I played 15 1-card starters, so 3 Gold Leo, 3 Masquerade, 3 Tanky, 3 Foolish Goods, 2 Fractal, and 1 Foolish Barrel. I just didn't want to brick. And with a deck list like this, it's pretty much impossible to brick. Also, you can play this deck as a going 2nd deck and then not play Foolish Barrel Goods because it does give you a massive disadvantage. So yeah, it's really up to you, but honestly, I still think I want to blind first when I win the dice roll. So yeah, for the other cards, I mean, 2 Silverhound, 2 Kaleido Chick, 1 of each of the Pendulum Monsters, 1 Emerald Bird, 1 Yellow Martin, 3 Black Sheep, 1 Poly, and then 2 Lunite Perfume. And for the non-engine, 3 Lunite Fusion, 3 Heavy Poly, 3 Book of Eclipse, 1 Call by the Grave. Yeah, this is not a non-engine card, but yeah, it's a Foolish Goods send target, and also you can discard it off of Emerald Bird, unlike Lunite Perfume. So yeah, I think the deck list overall for me was pretty good. I don't really know if I would change anything in the main deck necessarily. Maybe I'm gonna play the deck differently, but I think overall the deck list was good. The issue was in my extra inside, the El Mirage was like completely useless. I'd play something else instead, maybe a 3rd Liger Dancer. And then in the side deck, I would just not play Thrust and Necrofusion. I'd probably play like Fua instead. And I'm not sure how I feel about having like 12 hand shops in the side deck at this point, so I'd also do something a little different here. But overall, I mean, it's still like, for the most part, it was very good for me. And yeah, the Protoss package was unfair. Like, I wouldn't have done well in the YCS without it. That I can guarantee you. It stole me a lot of games because otherwise against Pyramid Tsurugi, you're going to be scooping up a lot of, most of the time, almost, I want to say. If you can only make one Lagro Dancer and then they can kaiju it, you are screwed, my friend. But that is pretty much it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And again, I will be back with way more content very soon, so stay tuned. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.